This is an SM Media production.
Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the Celtic Report right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike. It's a pleasure as always to be your host. I'm delighted to be joined, returning to the show. It's a pleasure to welcome back from the Celtic Unrestricted View, Ryan Clifford.
Hi Scott, how's things? Thanks for getting me on. See how we go tonight, but looking forward to chat to game, mate. Always good to be on, so hope you're well, mate. Had a good weekend as well.
Always a pleasure, mate. Looking forward to getting a chat with you. There is probably a lot to get into, but I don't imagine 45 minutes good, second 45 minutes probably as bad as you'll see, but initial reaction before we get into kind of assessing the game and assessing kind of all the key points that we want to talk about. At half time, that result was never happening. Like at half time, seeing Celtic not win that game wasn't an MD's thoughts, because Celtic had been so dominant. The one thing you could say, and obviously it's came to fruition, very wasteful. That's just the conclusion I've come to with the first half. Just very wasteful.
Aye, I would say wasteful, Scott. I think that's definitely one word you would say. No clinical enough. There was chances there to be made. Probably could have been 2 or 3 up at half time. Always get his chance again. Done well during the week, to be fair to him. He was making space, he was making chances for today, but just wasn't there today at all. Maybe at home for me, it's you've got to give these guys their own games and give them time, and but at Celtic there's only so long you can say, right, okay, right now he's maybe here, we need to get a better level, i.e. Kyogo, etc, etc. But I think overall I would say wasteful in the first half, Scott. I think that's probably a good word to use. I thought the first half was fine. Some football was good. It was a wee bit quicker in certain stages. So first half you're thinking 1-0 up, you get in decent half-time team talk for the manager. Everything's all rosy in a wee way. Just go out and finish the job the second half, and I don't know what happened in the second half. It was just a total different Celtic team. I know Kilmarnock came out and obviously they've got a different attitude into the second half, but Celtic just, it was like they were hiding, just wasn't in the game at all. And to be fair to Kilmarnock, they probably, in the last 25 minutes at least, they can get even better and probably did deserve the win, mate, to be fair.
I don't think it's hard to argue with that. I mean, like, just to start, like you mentioned, obviously Wednesday night. And Wednesday night, it was so fluid, it was so attacking. There was a lot of positives to take. And there's only one change, and it's an enforced one. Obviously, Cameron Carter-Vickers goes out injured, and you're thinking, is this maybe the chance for Nat Phillips to get his start? He gets the start, but apart from that, I mean, it makes sense that when you've played so well on Wednesday night and scored 4 goals, you keep the side as is. And Phillips coming in was the only change that was going to happen.
With Phillips, when he came on, it was a wee bit dodgy. When he signed, I was really, really hopeful. A lot of experience for Liverpool. He's won the Champions League. When guys like Van Dijk and Matip and Gomez weren't playing, he was kind of always playing. Maybe not every week, but he was always in contention. He was always about the squad. In games, I've seen him probably during the COVID season. He was actually quite decent. So I'm thinking, no nonsense centre back, brilliant. Maybe similar profile to Shane Duffy, no nonsense, just defend. And for whatever reason, is it game time he's not had, or is it just he's no suited to the way we play? I don't know, Scott, but I don't think he covered himself in glory today. But again, do you question the manager for including him? You've got Lagerbielka and Nerowski sitting there as well.
I want to get into them in a bit, but if you were to ask me how was Nat Phillips today, I would have said fine. Wouldn't have said he was brilliant. Wouldn't have said he was terrible. He was fine up until the own goal. Like there was a few loose passes, but I wasn't thinking during the game. Like I thought with Taylor was way off it today, but with Phillips, I didn't think he was too bad at all until the own goal, and you could just see the dent in his confidence. Because in fairness to him, he is trying to obviously get in front of the ball, but it is one of those things. But first kind of 10, 15 minutes, I thought Celtic were good. I thought the play was good. I thought O'Reilly, obviously, a really good bit of play for O'Reilly, forces a save for the goalkeeper. Johnson was getting on the ball. Palmer was getting on the ball. O'Reilly was making things happen. I thought early on, in the early stages, Celtic were way ahead of Kilmarnock. Like, we know what this Kilmarnock team are going to do. They've got 9 guys over 6 foot. They're going to try and keep it as tight as possible and try and not let anything happen. But the first 10 minutes, I don't think Kilmarnock could have lived with Celtic. But again, it's just that you need to score at that point.
The first half, yeah, you're totally right. It was absolutely fine, I thought. Into half time, 1-0 up. Could have been more, but if it was kind of okay, considering the plastic pitch, etc., and the weather's not great, and I thought the football was fine. You missed a few chances, but like you say with Nat Phillips as well, I thought the first half he was actually okay. Nothing really bothered him the first half. He was winning headers. He was kind of been strong, absolutely fine. But second half, he was starting to get a wee bit. I was like, okay, just keep solid here. And then obviously the goal, never since then, I think his confidence just shot, and he was kind of, like he says, he was misplayed passes. Then obviously there was one that I seen. It was a still 40 at the time, but there was one where he was playing people offside for the second goal, and that's, for a guy who played at the level he's played at, that's where a guy's inexperienced. So, is it game time from Nat Phillips? It's the issue. I don't know, but for me, I just think no matter how much game time you've had, you can be no playing for 2 years, a year, 6 months. The basics of defending should still be there, and I don't think I've seen that yet with Nat Phillips. But just me as a Celtic fan, I'd probably imagine I'd be surprised if he's kept his loan deal in January. I think Celtic maybe look at better, but not just on Nat Phillips. It's a full team game, but just on his performance, the last 25 minutes at least, you can maybe see there was signs that maybe he's not up to Celtic's level, which is just one of the things.
But what do you think that says though, when you've got, like, obviously Lagerbielke wasn't on the bench today, but Navrojski was, and the first few games in Navrojski, I thought he was again solid, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously coming in, like, we'll go through. I want to go through the whole summer recruitment in a few minutes, but Navrojski's the one player out of that you would definitely say is the, like, for value for money. How many games he's played would come straight into the team and start. So what is missing? Because he's obviously been out with injury. Fair enough, that happens. But he comes straight in. Rodgers is fairly quick to say Navrojski and Lagerbielke have to do more in training. They're young boys, fair enough. But again, is that not an opportunity with 20 minutes to go? And I know it's his first game back, but you could see Phillips was a bag of nerves after that first goal. So what does it say that these two guys aren't getting into the team? And Rodgers is even coming out publicly saying this is a problem. These guys need to do more, in my estimation. I think that's tough. It's tough for young boys in particular. Like, experienced guys can get away with it because they've kind of had it before, but it's not a great situation for those guys either.
No, it's not great, mate. You've got to wonder what they're doing wrong if obviously Nat Phillips is getting game time as well when he's by the sounds of it and by the looks of it right now he's not up to it.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing wrong? Like, again, maybe sometimes you're premature as a fan, but the first time Narovski's played 2 games, I think, and the 2 games he's played, I actually really liked him. He was solid. He was always passing the ball forward, had a wee bit of pace about him. He's came for a team in Legia Warsaw in Poland to, I think, they finished second in the league. He was very good for them. He's very well regarded. Lagerbielke, get the Swedish centre-back player of the year for the league. He plays for Sweden. He's actually played a few games beyond Starfelt. So these guys don't become bad players overnight. Is it they can't settle here? Is it they're not used to the way we play? I know it might sound crazy, but is it the things like the weather they're not used to? I'm just trying to think of things that could dampen their performance. But anytime even Lagerbielke, I don't think he's done anything I thought, whoa, you're shaky here or you're not good enough. He's maybe take away the final game. He's been okay. Even the Ibrox, the second half, he was phenomenal, having skills. So I think obviously they can't play for the final game, but I like to think the next game he would begin a shot and maybe move Scales to left back, because I'm the same as you. I've on our podcast, I've been kind of, again, I don't want to keep talking about Greg Taylor, but I've really been saying he's not been good enough. I've been saying it for a long time now, and I know under Angie done well, but I thought Angie's system kind of mastered defending because he could go forward a bit more.
Yeah.
And now he's had to defend 1v1 in the Champions League. He's just getting exposed, and maybe he's hit his ceiling and maybe his shelf life's totally finished Celtic and we've got to move on. But then you've got to say, what's that? Say for Bernabei, who we paid £3.5 million for. So there's loads of things we can say, but I think we can all agree on as a Celtic fan base that the left back situation is one that needs addressed, and it needs addressed in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, definitely. But it should have been addressed in the summer. Like there was talk in the summer of a new left back, and that's the problem you've got with Greg Taylor. And it's that thing. He's making his 150th appearance today, but you've rightly pointed out Bernabei is nowhere near fancied now. Is it off-field stuff? Probably. I think he is. I don't think Brendan Rodgers is. You'll agree on this. I don't think Brendan Rodgers likes that type of behaviour. But when you're so confident in your own place, when you've got nobody coming in to push you, your performances are going to be naturally slack. But you did say something there that I think is a problem with not just Greg Taylor, but that's a different system from what Ange played. And we saw that today. We're recording this just after the Tottenham game. You can see Ange's system is in full flow at Tottenham. You can see what he wants to do. You need certain players to suit that. Brendan Rodgers has got a certain system. To go from what Ange did to this, it's not too much different, but when you've got players who are so used to that certain level of play, to ask them to come back and do that, it's so much different.
Yeah, it's total night and day. I knew when Rodgers was coming, it wasn't going to be the way it was under Ange. It was more possession based, but I did expect it to be a lot attacking. It seems to be the game against St Johnstone and the game against Motherwell. It was kind of like going back to the last few months for Rodgers, where it was left to middle to right. Same again, passive, not really going aggressive, taking the play and taking the mantle. Like the wingmen, when it had Sinclair and stuff like that in his first season, they were taking the ball with the scruff of the neck and they were going at teams and taking men on, somewhat a bad Maeda last year in Jota. So, is it the case that he didn't get the players in January? The summer that he wanted to play his system now. He's got to have the players now to January to maybe get to play in January in the summer to get his full team together. But Celtic's, again, I don't want to be disrespectful to the team in Scotland, but some of Celtic reserve team or fringe players should come in and still be able to beat Motherwell, Kilmarnock, because these guys are still getting good money. They're still playing at a high level. They should be coming in. I.e. Phillips should be coming in. I'm not saying strolling it, but they should be able to come in and handle Kilmarnock.
And that's what I liked about Ange as well. Ange, there was occasions where like Haksabanovic would come in and not look out of place. Like you would be able to bring in, like Ralston would slot in, no bother. Midfield as well, Turnbull would come in and be fine. Like I'm just kind of thinking as well, like Iwata, like Kobayashi played a few times last season. Is he the answer? No, but he was fine for that role. But this is the problem now, is that a lot of these players, like a Mikey Johnson, who was way out in the cold, is now a first team option. Now that's down to injuries more than anything, but like kind of going into the attacking sense before the goal, there's a lot of good play in terms of Johnson and Palmer. I really like Lewis Palmer. Like I think he's the difference between like a Yang, who we'll get into as well. Palmer is, you can tell Palmer's got a good end product. It wasn't great today, but he's had a very good end product in recent weeks. Johnson shouldn't be an option in 2023, but he's not done any harm by what he's been doing in recent weeks. But today, and that's a problem I've got with Hugo as well, is when you are creating, there was good bits of play, but it's that end product today that was just horrible for the Wings. And what's owed a couple of chances, but when you've not got that what's the word I'm looking for, that service coming into the middle, it's really, really tough. And I thought today, Palmer and Johnson, while they were okay in stages, like Johnson does well for the goal, but they were very, very wasteful with a lot of stuff.
Mikey Johnson, he's obviously got a lot of ability. I've always says to get through the Celtic Academy and still be at the club when about this stage of his career, he must have a lot of ability because Celtic don't really, the last few years in terms of the youth system, I think you need to be really, really, really exceptional to get in the Celtic youth system, and it's probably the same as Rangers as well. So you need to be really good to play every week with Celtic. So he's probably got ability, but there's a few times now that Rodgers has come out and publicly spoke about him for me, I can get what he's trying to do, but at the same time, I don't like it because you've got to wonder why he came out publicly and but no did it behind the scenes. So for me, I think if Mikey Johnson was, if there was no injuries, sorry, and the team was fully fit, and they had Palma in early doors, Abada was fit, Maeda was fit, and Yang was fit, I think Mikey Johnson might be out the door. I think he's really only here due to injuries and maybe know the manager getting the recruitment that he wants, because there was talk about maybe signing Podence and other stuff, and they get Palma. But I do think you're badly missing Hatate, Maeda, and Abada, especially for me, Abada, because Abada's very raw, but his numbers tell you that he's a massive option to Celtic and what Celtic do. And it's a good point. I can't remember who it was. If it was it Chris Boyd today? Spoke about it. And he's bang on. I don't really agree with Chris Boyd a lot, but I agree with Chris Boyd what he says today about Abada getting the back post, how he's obviously been coached that and how he does that, and Celtic got so many goals through that, and we've not got that. But the end product has got to be, as a winger, get to buy a man and get in the box, and we seem to either hit terrible product or we turn back. And I've noticed that with Greg Taylor. It was really annoying me during the week against Hibs. We won the game 4-1. But I still walked away from that game thinking in the first half, I didn't enjoy the first half. It was only until the second goal when Palmer got by his man and whipped it in. That's better. But we seem to, instead of just doing it all the time, they do it once, right, okay, that's us get to go with it. Once you beat your man once, you just do it again and you do it again, because that defender will get worn down and they'll know you've got to beat them. So I think we lack that as well, but definitely in terms of Mikey Johnson. Again, he's obviously got a lot of ability, Scott, but for me, I can only just comment on what I've seen today, and from what I've seen in the past, I don't think he should be an option for us leading into the winning, to go and win titles, to go and progress in European trophies, European competition. Again, that's maybe unfair to him as a player because he's not had a lot of chances through injury, but if we want to progress a club, and i.e. as Mr. Lotwell says and Rodgers, they want to get into the last 16s and they want to finish second and first, whatever the group stages, then I think you need to get a bit better than that in terms of quality.
See as well with Palma, it was something I wanted to get your thoughts on as well. A lot of times today, I don't think it's an accident that Danny Armstrong was outstanding today, but the reason he was outstanding was there was a wide gap. Taylor, he was annihilating Taylor in the second half, but with Maeda, for example, Maeda's coming back and covering those runs. He's tracking back. Palma's no got that. Now, I think Palma's got a lot of potential, but you do miss that with Maeda, and I think with Taylor as well, who can get exposed quite easily against a pacey winger who can drive at you. That it leaves Taylor so exposed, and even Scales today, who I think was fine, and he's been very, very solid since he's been back into the side. But I think with Scales as well, the fact that left hand side was just getting attacked, it didn't have that calming nature in Carter Vickers next to him, and it was you could see them getting isolated, and it was Armstrong had a field day. But I think as well, Palmer's runs were just Palmer's lack of coming back was just creating this kind of. I think Armstrong was looking at it going, I'm getting plenty of opportunities here, and that's kind of the reason the second half happens.
I think as well with Maeda, maybe me sometimes as well, you kind of us as fans always not really that technical, and there's maybe other technical players better than him, but see on the other flip side of it, what he does defensively is massive. He's high press to go and lead for the front. He's chasing back, he tackles, his work rate it's a thankless task to have somebody like your team. You could have somebody that might not have the best ability, but if they're fit and they trap back and they defend and they can mark a man, then sometimes that's better than actually scoring a goal, because that's a stopping goal. So Taylor, again, he's played it in front of Jota, who eventually get better defensively. Maeda's decent defensively, he tracks back. Palma, I think Palma's more, I don't want to say a luxury player, but he's more attacking than he is. I think he was actually sort of number 10 role, personally. Just play him there, let him do his thing. He can deliver a ball, he can score goals, and he can link up the play well. So maybe that's my position. We can play him in, I don't know, but Maeda's definitely a key player for Celtic coming into the next few weeks as well. Hopefully he's injury free in the next few weeks, and he can obviously play the game at Celtic Park on the 30th, which we all know is coming up. So that's going to look like a big game now. In my opinion, I think Celtic it's not really ideal that they've let some points slip. Again, I don't think Celtic should be near Rangers. That's just my opinion. I think the firepower Celtic have got,
I totally
financially,
agree with you.
the financials. I know it's a bit off topic, Scott, but for me, people talk about like the fall of Celtic was maybe a few years ago. For me, the fall for Celtic was when Rangers obviously got liquidated and down to the bottom division. Celtic just didn't go and they just didn't power on. Yes, they got Dyer and it'd be close to winning a treble, but they were signing some guys that weren't quality enough for Celtic. It was just like, just win the league, get into Europe, and then we'll get some money and we'll move on. Celtic they just went full-blown financial power. And in my opinion, Celtic, Rangers, again, maybe it's from a Celtic fan, but Rangers can't compete with Celtic financially, and Celtic should be streets ahead. And I think that we've went for here under Ange, and I'm a big admirer of Rodgers. I think he's fantastic. I've always rated him, even when he went to Leicester. Yes, I might have had a few stern words when he left the first time, but when you realise how good he was at Leicester and what he done, right, okay, get him back, fantastic. But it's no looking, wow, we've gone back. Some games you're thinking, right, that's Rodgers' style of play. And some games you're thinking, right, this is back to the old style before he left. So
yeah,
maybe it's got to take to January to maybe get some players out that he wants out and some players that he wants in. But I can definitely agree. I've probably given Greg Taylor a wee bit of a long-term standing abuse, but it's not abuse. It's just because I just want my team to be better and I want players to do the right things. But I think we all know as a fan group that the left back situation is going to be sorted ASAP, because if it's not, you're going to see more things today, and especially Europe. And Europe, he's been exposed. And again, it's not just down to him, it's down to, like you say, Scales. For me, Scales has been fine, but at Celtic, you can't just be, oh, he's playing fine. Have we really replaced Starfelt? I don't know. Starfelt got a lot of his doubters. How many factors were solid? Celtic have not kept a clean sheet in a row in how many games now? I don't think we've won 3 games in a row this season in the league, so it's not looking good on recruitment. So in terms of the left-hand side, it's a worry, it's a concern, but it's not really something I think we're surprised about, Scott, because we were shouting about it as soon as the season ended that we need to get these things done, and the goalkeeper as well. I don't know if that's something you want to talk about, but
we'll touch on that.
The left-hand side, definitely. But Palmer, I think he's very decent. I think the fee they pay from the decent value. People say he's replaced Jota. For me, he's not replaced Jota. I think he's replaced the void of Jota, but I don't think he's replaced Jota as a player just yet.
Nah, but on to the goal, O'Reilly. It's a really nice bit of play for Johnson. Finds McGregor. McGregor does a nice wee turn, puts the shot away. The goalkeeper makes a decent save, but O'Reilly's there again. 9th goal of the season. Big opportunity again. Comes up in the big moments. O'Reilly's been the one so far this season. We thought he would as well. We're kind of a manager who, as all due respect to Ange, but I think Brendan is the sort of manager that will get the best out of Matt O'Reilly. And again, like, one positive to take for the day is that he is just such a massive player on the Celtic side, because he comes up in those big moments. He's capable of, the shift he puts in, I think, is remarkable. And he is probably, again, probably along with McGregor as well. And I thought the midfield today was fine, but today, like, again, O'Reilly's there. If a big bid comes in January for O'Reilly, he's going to be such a massive player to replace. And we saw with Jota, if you don't replace them straight away, and this is what Ange was good at. Ange had, if Giakoumakis was away, always in. If Juranovic was away, famously plays Juranovic at left back because he's already got Johnson there. That I don't see that forward thinking at the moment, and I think that's a big regression as well.
Matt O'Reilly's been fantastic. I know before he came to Celtic, I think he was on Man City's third best player, something to do with the analysis, and other teams were looking at him. I think Liverpool were looking at him, Arsenal as well. So he's I'm not the biggest believer on stats. I like to look at kind of face to face. All right, he's okay. He's obviously stats do back a lot of things up these days. A lot of teams are using it, but Matt O'Reilly's been fantastic, and I think they've done really well to actually keep him so far still. I think as Celtic fans, I'm not saying he's going in January or I'm not saying he's going in summer, but I would just enjoy him as long as he's here because he's definitely got the ability to go. Listen, Celtic are a massive club, but because of the league we're in, teams will go. Sometimes they go and regret it, but sometimes when you get a big offer, and again, people need to look for family's sake as well. When they get a good offer, they might go as well. So, but if you're Celtic, in my opinion, no matter, again, everybody has got a price, but I think on him until the summer, I don't think he's sellable. I think he's unsellable in my opinion because do I believe that the board are going to go and give the manager £10 million or so to go and replace? I don't think so. I wish I was wrong. So we just need to hope. Matt O'Reilly's fantastic. I think there's a lot of words I can say about him, but he's definitely improved his game. He's improved defensive work as well. He actually looks quicker as well. He looks a lot fitter, and he's scoring goals, which is adding to his game. And maybe the only slight kind of positive spin on maybe the day's game in the season so far is sometimes at Ange, when it got to before January, Celtic did kind of no struggle, but we weren't like full force. And some games at the end of before the break, we kind of struggled and it was 1-0s and it wasn't always great. And then in January, he went in and got Hatate, Kyogo and Maeda, and then Celtic just went streets ahead. So you're kind of hoping that's the same. Hopefully you go and you keep the points total to as of now. You go and beat Rangers at Celtic Park, and then you regroup in the summer, and then the first game back, I think, is Bucky Thistle. So you've got a lot of maybe 2 to 3 weeks to get your deals done. I'd imagine deals being done as it stands at the moment. So that's maybe a thing, Scott, that could be a positive, that if you're still at top of the league by the new year, you can regroup, get what you need in, and then injuries come back as well. I know I don't want to talk about injuries too much, but Hatate, Maeda and Abada, if Reefy are fully fit and Vickers is fully fit, the team looks a lot different. But that's why you've got a squad, and I think by just me and you talking, other fans talking as well, and we've seen so far this season that some of the squad players are no good enough, and there's only so much you can wish them to go and do well, and how much money you give them, and there's only so many games you can. But for me, Jan, his first 2 or 3 games looked okay, and now I'm thinking no good enough. I've signed guys like Quan, nowhere to be seen yet as it things. But
even
Bernardo,
players like Bernardo,
I think he's been okay as well. I think he's nothing flashy, nothing too. Just does the simple thing. But what's weird, I don't know what you think about that, Scott. But what's weird to me is he trusts him in the Champions League games, but then doesn't play him in Scotland.
Yeah, and
that's what I don't get.
It's that as well. It's that. I mean, even under Ange, how many times did Celtic try and kind of. This isn't a new thing. Try to kind of play McGregor a bit further forward and get somebody in that number 6 role. We tried it with McCarthy, that didn't work. The boy for Denmark, is it Abdegaard, whatever his name was? Abelgard. He kind of brought Awata in as well. Bernardo's there. That he obviously, both managers obviously wanted to do that, but there's, as you say, there's nobody there kind of going, right, we're filling that gap. Now the best midfield is without a doubt McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly. And that is obviously what, like, Hatate missing's a huge void, but you should have it. Turnbull isn't. Turnbull's no a 90-minute player, we know that. Awata, I think, has been fine, he's been serviceable, but he's serviceable. He's not going to be the player he might obviously have to play until Hatate's back, but you know, as soon as Hatate's ready, Hatate's going back in there. Yeah. And I don't see that like much. Like, I'm a big fan of Matt O'Reilly, but I think without Matt O'Reilly, so this season, and that's a big problem, O'Reilly has been so key to that side, but take him out and the tactical complexion completely changes.
Yeah, I would say so. He's massive, and Cal McGregor's not been McGregor of old. Is it burnout? We don't know. Is it just no performing? Is it the tactics? Rodgers? Is it? I think McGregor's better going forward. I don't see him as a defensive mid. I think when you put him further forward, he gets things ticking. I know he done well when he played, obviously, that role at Ibrox, and he was fantastic that day, but I just prefer him going forward and lining up the play, and I think that's a position I think they need to do. If it means going and spending a good bit of money on players in January to fill that void in midfield, because it's okay to get a lot of gems like your £1 million and 500 grand, but 9 times out of 10, it's the same like with food pricing and stuff. If you buy a good bit of steak, it's good value. So 9 times out of 10 in transfers, not every transfer works, but when you do your proper scouting and you pay good money, but just there was a lot of talk about the guy Podence. I think he's actually doing well now in Olympiacos.
Yeah.
£8 million for me was a snip. Yes, he wasn't doing well with Wolves because obviously had a fault with the manager, but he made an impact at Wolves. He scored goals at Wolves. So if you go and pay £8 million for a guy, he's been there and done it in the Premier League, he's had an impact already. You know what he's done. But if you then scout a guy who's maybe 19, 20, you don't know what he's going to come into, you don't know what he's going to do, and maybe pay $3-4 million for him, you'd rather pay the £8 million for an experienced-ish player who's been there and done it, i.e., probably the full scenario I could say would be Scott Sinclair.
Mm-hmm.
Been there and done it down south. Yes, I think he's playing near left or right back. I think he's left back with Aston Villa. He played a few games. But his quality when he came up here, he absolutely, the first season was, it's probably the biggest impact for me I've seen for a new signing. It was unbelievable, and £4.5 million, I think he was, something like that. Absolute snip. And I think Celtic need to maybe go down that avenue, and if it means, I think now they need to go and spend a bit of money, because I think if they don't, they're putting themselves in a situation, in my opinion, they shouldn't be in, because Rangers have not performed all season. I would say Clement's changed a wee bit for them, but as a Celtic fan, I don't think they're going to do anything here. It's down to what we do, and I think the last few weeks, is it complacency? Is it guys thinking that they're too comfortable, as the manager says? Who knows? But on Turnbull as well, I think Turnbull's a brilliant player. I think if he went abroad, I think he would flourish. I think he would be very good. But in this system, it's just unfortunate that it's just not going to suit him.
No, it's not. And I want to get into recruitment kind of later, but I want to obviously address the second half, because at 1-0 at half time, now Hart makes a really good save. Johnson with the back of the block as well. But the big thing at half time is, and this is, I can imagine Derek McInnes been in there in his dressing room going, right, it's only 1-0. How it's only 1-0, I don't know. Have a go, use your physicality. And that is another problem for me as well, is that Celtic, when they're up against a side who can battle, who, as I say, Celtic do not have a lot of height apart from the centre backs. Johnson's terrific. Arthur Johnson's terrific. I think he's been one of the finds in the past couple of years, and I think he's another one that could kick on to another level. But particularly the second half, you saw that physicality. Vassell with ragdolling Scales and Phillips. Even in midfield, they've got a lot of players who can just battle, and that lack of physicality, I didn't realise today. It's just how concerning it actually is.
I've said for years, especially on the podcast and just in general, to people, that I think we've been too nice for years, probably since maybe Wanyama and Scott Brown.
Probably, yeah.
We've not really had a ball-winning, strong, physical man mountain in a midfielder. Even defenders-wise, like guys like Van Dijk and Ayer, they weren't strong. They were very good, technically gifted defenders. They were very good.
Yeah.
Yes, Van Dijk obviously took it to a new level, and he was strong, but I just think we're missing a few, I don't want to say nasty kind of things, but we're missing like the dark arts, like, especially European football.
What's the begin with B?
Aye.
It's true though.
B,
it is.
aye.
That's like the best. Like you said about Wanyama, like that is like that type of player.
I think we just accept things. Like a wee elbow, all right, referee, okay. We just accept it. We just accept things, and it's all right being nice and technical and quick at football, but when things are like nothing each, or like you said, you're 1 each, or you're 2-1 down, you need to battle to win. Through the years, we've been battled titles. We've won, I think, 11 out of 12. You've won 5 out of 7 trebles. Brilliant. But you need to keep doing that. As a club at Celtic, you can't stand still. And 100%, we're too nice. We've not got a lot of physicality in the team, especially even out wide today, like Palmer and Mikey Johnson. There's no physicality there. Jan comes on, Forrest as well. No physicality on the wings. Greg Taylor. Again, all these guys are, I know for a fact, all these guys are stronger than me, but in terms of the football fitness, Greg Taylor is no physical enough, in my opinion, as well. Arthur Johnson is. I think Liam Scales, for me, I don't want to be too disrespectful to Liam Scales, because he's been fantastic and he's worked very hard to get to where he is. But I think the last 2 or 3 weeks, his purple patch is starting to maybe kind of can I get to him now? And he's been making a few wee mistakes here and there, and not marking his man. And the second goal was between him, McGregor, and Greg Taylor. And it's schoolboy defending, and eventually, if you're not keeping clean sheets, it's going to be a detriment to your game. So Celtic have won last year with Ange, clean sheets. Rodgers in the past, clean sheets, and we've all kept a clean sheet in a row along basically the season, to be fair. So that's got to get obviously rectified as well. But the physicality, I think you're bang on, Scott. It's maybe Carter Vickers in the middle of the park. A Watt can give you a bit of physicality, but I think all over the park, I think you get bullied, and I can accept getting beat. I can accept guys beating you with quality, world-day free kicks or world-day goals and just been better than you. But what I can't accept for a Celtic team, or any team in fact, is when they get bullied, outfought and overran. You can blame the manager on that, but that's the players and individuals doing it on the park, and they're the ones that are on the park. And for me, I don't think that was St Johnstone in the first half. Today, the second half, Sunday, the second half.
Months ago as well, it was the same. It was the same type of game.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
For me, that's no good. For me, that's for a Celtic team to be overran and overfought. For me, that's concerning. That's no good enough, in my opinion, at this level.
On to the subs now. He brings on Yang with 20 minutes to go. Now, I understand that change. I can understand Yang. He does offer a direct the spot end product again, apart from Aberdeen at home. I think it's been lacking. Forrest comes in for Palmer with 6 minutes to go, and again, you can see Palmer's getting tired. But Kyogo's the one I want to touch on, because he replaces Kyogo. He replaces Awata with Kyogo, and he's obviously trying to get a goal into the game. Kyogo gets a good chance. It's obviously another good save of the goalkeeper. But Kyogo is a player who's really struggling for goals now. Last season, we need to emphasise this by saying Kyogo, since he's been here, has been a top class player in Scotland. I think he's the best striker Celtic have had since Henrik Larsson. I really believe that. But when you've got a player that good, and it doesn't matter if you're Brendan Rodgers, it doesn't matter if you're Ange Postecoglou, it does not matter. You have to play to that guy's strengths. You have to use every opportunity to... What is Kyogo good at? He's good at getting in behind, he's good at making forward runs, and he's a really good finisher. Since Brendan Rodgers has been in, he's tried to play Kyogo a bit deeper now. A lack of service has been a problem, I know that, but I'm not seeing the same Kyogo, and I'm not putting it all down to the player. I think the player has to take a wee bit of responsibility, but you look at Kyogo for the first 24 months and you see this top-class player, and just recently there's somebody who loves it, admires his wee runs. Like the goal against Hearts, I think, is one of his best goals this season, because just the way he peels off the defender. And that's one, I put that down to a really good bit of build-up, playing terrific service. But when he's missing the likes of Jota, it's not been the same Kyogo. And I think more needs to go on to now. Brendan Rodgers has to manage him right more than anybody, because he is your main man.
Yeah, he's got to manage him properly. When you've got guys, I've always said forwards win your games, but I think defences can lose your leagues. And so you need to make sure your strikers are scoring goals, and obviously you need to make sure your defence is defending properly to obviously give you that, obviously, for your forwards to go forward and score goals. So for me, Kyogo's a fantastic player. Again, I've had that debate with people as well, best in Larson. I'm holding back on that for a wee bit, because I think there's other strikers that have overall done a lot, more than him, or can do more than him. But in terms of his finishing ability,
in terms of football intelligence, I think
he's what I've noticed, because obviously I'm a bit close, I go to a lot of games, and he's very frustrated. He's making a lot of runs.
Yeah.
And he's turning back, right, okay. But what I love about him is he doesn't throw his hands in there, he doesn't moan, he just gets on with it. But he's making so many good runs, and he's not getting the passes. So that's maybe because Johnson and Palmer still to get an ease tune yet. They've still to get in. But with Jota and Abada, as soon as Abada's got to get the ball, he was away.
Yeah.
It was similar when you looked at, again, it's maybe getting back on old ground, but Celtic under Martin O'Neill was totally different. But when guys like Agat and that got the ball, Larson, Sutton, Hartson made their moves, and over the ball was gone, etc. I don't think telepathically we've got that at the moment with the wee man, and he's pushing him back into he's not putting him as a 10, but that's the way he kind of looks to go deeper, get the ball. And I was a wee bit critical of him in 2 European games, because I thought he didn't do enough he's not getting service, but you still need to go and demand the ball. You still need to chase defenders. You still need to do that part of the job. But maybe that's because he's not getting maybe the joy that he should be getting, i.e. through the service, and that's his confidence is maybe hit a wee low. And I think I can understand why he's not playing, because he's obviously not playing well. The manager's thought to give a chance. I'm still wanting to give a wee bit of time, but he's neighbour near Kyogo. It does give you a different option.
But do you think he suits Brendan Rodgers' type of striker more in terms of physicality?
I would say so, probably. But again, like you just mentioned there, you've got to get a formation or a style of play that suits your best players.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to go beyond what you think's your style to suit your players until you then maybe get the players that you want to put in. For me, Kyle was fantastic, and I don't think he'll be on the bench. And if anybody, I think he'll be an absolute starting effective, because I think he'll need to play. So for me, the way the possession football is, it's definitely not working for him. He's just the ball getting wide, link the play, boom, and scoring a goal. So I think he's a fantastic player, and maybe we're not getting the best out of him because of the way Rodgers is playing, and that's down to the manager to obviously figure that out, and hopefully in the next few weeks that will change, because I think he's got to play.
Right, obviously the result was bad, but I want to talk about something that I'm keen to get your thoughts on, because I look at the players brought in, and I want to get your thoughts on this, and if you agree or disagree with what I'm going to say here. Right, Celtic brought in 10 players in the summer. Tomoki Iwata was obviously a permanent deal. As I mentioned earlier, Iwata's not going to get in before the three in midfield. Home, I think long term could be a really good player. Long term prospect, not going to come in and fix it immediately. Tillio the same. Yang and Kwon, gambles that they're going to be what Maeda and Hatate were. Still, I don't think up to it. Nawrocki, I think, is the one you can say starter. I think when he came in, he's going to be the Starfelt replacement. Lagerbielke, long-term prospect. Palmer, not as good as Jota, but long-term prospect. Phillips, stopgap until January. Bernardo, stopgap till the summer. That recruitment, and this is one I want to get your thoughts on as well. Brendan Rodgers, famously, before he left Celtic, one of his big frustrations was, I'm not getting the players I want. There's way too much money getting wasted in players that aren't right at this moment. He's went back in there, and it's the same thing happening. Now, it wasn't happening under Ange. You could see where everybody fit. How many signings, you could count one hand the amount of signings in the workout for Ange, and you can count in one hand the signings already that aren't the answer right now. So that speaks to a problem upstairs.
Again, we don't know if he's been put under false pretences or false promises. He keeps mentioning the word quality. I've got to deal with what I've got to now, and again, I don't know if that's a dig at the board to help him out in January or summer, but he's definitely not been given the quality that he's desired, because I know he says he signs the players off on the AGM, and it's all changed now that the recruitment staff do the recruiting. They say to the manager, do you want him? Have a look at him, sign him off. I do not believe that Brendan Rodgers has signed Yang and Kwon or Tillio. I think that's into the recruitment.
Or Home, because Home was apparently done before.
Or they were already earmarked by Ange, and he just went, okay, I maybe trust your abilities. We'll see how they go. Home, he's looked okay. Again, I thought it looked a belter, and then I'm thinking, right, maybe he's not belting, maybe he's okay. Longer term, Celtic need to sign, for me, every window, you need to sign at least maybe 3 quality players, maybe for your core, maybe striker, midfielder, defender, or goalkeeper, defender, whatever position that you need to sign.
Goalkeeper we haven't even talked about, because that's something that, and all due respect to Hart, but in Europe, as we'll get into, obviously Feyenoord in a minute, but he's not the level Celtic require anymore. But the problem is as well, he's got is that Segrest is nowhere near it, Bain's nowhere near it. So again, it's another problem.
Recruitment, we all knew it was kind of poor. After the first few weeks, it was like, okay, it's actually maybe no bad here. And then it's been doing a wee bit again. Celtic paid, I know people going about like Barkas and Ajeti, but Ajeti, I know he didn't score for Basel in Europe, but he scored goals. Him and Elanusi played well, so I'm thinking, right, that's a decent signing. They put together at Basel. Maybe they can do that again with Celtic. He went to West Ham, but I'm sure they signed Sebastian Haller the same season. So it was going to find it hard to get in. I thought £5 million was no bad. It wasn't ridiculous money. It was actually no bad. That's maybe what you pay for a Premier League striker. Didn't work out. Barkas is doing okay with Utrecht now. Again, maybe due to the season, but Celtic cannot afford to spend £8 million on 2 centre-backs and them not to be playing or getting into the squad. We all know Carter Vickers was always going to be a mainstay. I think he's fantastic. It was always somebody to play with him. Starfield left. I'm probably the same as you. I think that obviously probably is going to be that guy. I like to think so, but when the manager's talking about training and stuff, but if he's signing the players, then it's down to you've got to start questioning the recruitment and start questioning. I'd never question a manager, but maybe you've got to start questioning a manager in terms of the ability to sign players, because like you've just mentioned, there's 10 players. The only one you would say that's playing, I think the only one that played in Europe, I know there's 2 or 3 guys that didn't get included due to injuries, like Nerowski and Telio and stuff, and Kwon. But Palmer's was only starting, I think, and that's away from home. And for a recruitment, that's a few words we can say, but it's very, very poor. And I would rather be spent, just say about £20 million. I would rather have been out and bought maybe 3 quality players, just say worth £5 million. For £50 million, you know they're going to have an impact, they're going to score you goals, defend, create chances. And then with the £5 million you've got left, maybe go and sign 2 or 3 gems or 2 or 3 longer term prospects that can maybe come and help the squad to add to what you've got. They've mismanaged the recruitment, and they've got maybe one window to sort it for this season. I'm not worried about the league itself and anything like that right now. I just think it's they're going through a wee phase in the moment where obviously it's not working. But again, I think January that will change. And but if it doesn't, then I think they've seen a lot of crazy scenes during the COVID season. It wouldn't surprise me if some of that comes back, because with the board, it's just. I praised the board to the hilt when Ange came in, when they backed them blindly. Because let's be fair, the board didn't know about Kyogo, Hatate, Maeda.
No, of course they didn't.
They gave Ange money, they backed him blind, and I said, right, pat in the back, fantastic, well done. But now I'm thinking, right, where's this money went? Like you mentioned, Celtic have spent a lot of money and been moaning about obviously money for Europe, but not every team in Europe spends a lot of money. They spend it wisely and they spend it on good produce. And as it stands at the moment in terms of European football, we're nowhere near it. I don't think we're absolutely miles away.
No.
I think it's small margins and small things we need to do better, i.e. quality. And like you say with Europe as well, we don't do the silly thing. Like take your time. Like you mentioned Joe Hart. He's rushing everything. I'm thinking, take your time. You don't need to rush. We're rushing shies, rushing corners and free kicks. And people might think I'm referees or that.
No, I see it, because I think Celtic played very well first half against Feyenoord in Holland. Obviously, red cards didn't help, but just the way the game went. Atletico, again, red card, but Atletico are a good side. Lazio, the game management was fine until one wee thing happens, and then you lose 2 late goals. And you're thinking, they're big moments and big games, and to be at that level, you need to manage those games better. Even Atletico at home to a degree, like really good performance, but you could always feel a goal was coming because of the slackness. And we obviously move on to Wednesday night. Celtic's final Champions League game comes at home to Feyenoord. 2 sides really with nothing to play for. Pride more than anything. Feyenoord are in the Europa League. Celtic are obviously out. So what do you do if you're Brendan Rodgers? Do you go with what do you keep your side kind of as close to what is, or do you really kind of try and freshen it up and see if somebody can make an impression? Because this is it's a Champions League game, but it is an opportunity to really kind of see, right, is there a couple of things I can tidy up here? I think it's actually quite a big game.
It's still a big game in terms of some money as well, because I think if you win, you get as a few million, so that could add to the transfer kit as well. Yeah. So I think for Pride as well, I think we need to get a victory. You don't want to go out with less points. I think we get 2 points last year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So if we get 1 point this year, there's nowhere near an improvement. And I was thinking, Brendan came in, right, he'll get some quality signings, he'll improve us in Europe. That's a big thing I was thinking about Rodgers. And so far, the points, it's okay competing, but you need to get victories, and the points totals are most thing that matters. So, Feyenoord, I wasn't impressed from the first game. I thought, but again, I wasn't impressed with Lazio either.
No.
Even at Celtic Park, I thought it'd be a lot better than they were. I came out the actual game thinking, right, how do I win that? Even we did at home. I'm thinking, how is that not been the 3 points? But like you says, it's experienced players. It just shows you that like Lazio have got 2 experienced players, been there and done it, worth a lot of money, and Mobley and Pedro have come on and won the game, and that's what we've not got. It's still a big game. He's got to have a balance where he plays his strongest team, but he doesn't rest a lot of people and get an embarrassing defeat. So you want to still go on strong as you can. Maybe 1 or 2 players might maybe get a bit of game time. It's still a big game. I think you still want to go win the game. You still get a better points tally than last season. Then you can say it might be an improvement points total wise, but no as a collective. But again, it might be 1 or 2 last players' chance as well to go and show they can prove it at this level, because I think there's maybe 2 or 3 players on a shaking nail at the club, and some French players I think will be shaking nail as well. So I think it's a big game for the club as well, because like he says, they're above the hierarchy. Mr. Lawwell said to keep saying we're a Champions League club, and there's only so much, like Carl McGregor says and the manager says, we need to learn. There's only so many years you can learn before it's just we're no good enough. So I think it's a massive game, and I don't know what the manager will do if he'll make a few changes, but I think you've got to go with a stronger squad, because I don't want to go too depleted and then you get a bad result, and then the media is on you, the fans are on you, and you just want to try and end the campaign with some sort of positivity. And obviously mentioned Joe Hart, and I thought Joe Hart when he signed was fantastic, brilliant signing at the time. I thought McCarthy was the same, experience. I know he's been had his injury problems, but the first season when I think he played about 16 games or so, he was okay, done the simple basic things, but you could see that it was just a stopgap to get experience in the door. But you've seen it pre-season with Joe Hart, Scott. He was making silly mistakes that he wasn't making before. And listen, people might talk about no good with his feet, but he has been a top class goalkeeper. He's played at a top level, but he's getting to his age now where, listen, in life we all get to a shelf life for certain things, and I think Joe Hart's getting to that at Celtic, and I think he's either going to be number 2 next season or maybe past January, or he could be, listen, Joe, I think maybe go somewhere else and end his career, maybe playing every week, because Scott Bain's obviously, in my opinion, the third choice shouldn't be the second choice. The third choice is the third choice for a reason. Siegrist came with a wee bit of positivity, good goalkeeper at United, but I think that just goes for the full transfers. I know Lewis Ferguson and Hickey and that have all done well. I get that in Italy and other countries, but John Souttar's not had the best of starts at Rangers. So when you go for Hearts, Aberdeen, St Mirren, etc., and you go to Celtic and Rangers, it's a massive jump. Like Stuart Armstrong done it brilliantly, but Gary Mackay-Steven didn't. So it just shows you how the step up and the pressure, I think it's totally different, and obviously it's no worked out with Benji either.
Yeah, well, we'll get a quick prediction for you before we wrap up. Give us a positive note to end the podcast.
I'm going to try and go with a positive note. I think we'll concede, so I don't really want to say that, but I think we will, the way we're going. So I'm going to say 2-1 Celtic. I think Kyogo will play as well. I think he should be back in as well. So hopefully end the campaign with a positive as we can result, and maybe get a bit of confidence back in the team, because obviously getting beat off Kilmarnock, getting to this game, it's not ideal.
No, it certainly isn't. I'll go 1-0. I think it'll be a good way to end the Champions League campaign. And that's going to wrap us up for this episode, folks. I want to thank my guest Ryan for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
No, Scott, any time, mate. Thank you. Enjoy the chat.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much for tuning in, folks. If you want more Scottish football content, then tune into our Patreon channel. And as always, we'll be back next week with a new episode of the Celtic Report, and I'll be back with a post-match reaction video after Wednesday night. See you later, folks. Cheers.